everyone. So the depopulation agenda and just a lot of evil in general is not something that I really think about. It's not something that usually comes up into my awareness because I normally wait until my guardian angels and spirit come through and give me information, and from there, that's when I start mentally researching what this means and connecting it where I think it makes sense. And so I feel like this is coming in line because I'm going to do a future video about witchcraft and demons and possession, demonic possession. And it kind of just follows the steady stream of thought when it comes to these general videos that I've been doing. Because one of the things that's happening for me is really putting my faith into action. Because you think about decades upon decades upon decades of people who are claiming that it's going to be the end of times, who are claiming that there's a depopulation agenda or there's some sort of major catastrophic event, whether it's artificially created or not, or it could be a seemingly natural event but artificially created. And so I think to myself often, what makes what I see any different? How do I know if I'm right or not? How severe is it? And like, why am I even seeing this? And so I try and be hypersensitive to external information and see if that's why or part of any sort of contributing factor as to why I feel the way that I do, and then as intensely as I do. And so, I mean, I'm still going to stick to what I say. I feel like something's going to be drastically different. I don't know, just everything in line with these past videos that I keep saying. And if you think about depopulation agenda, depending on where you focus your mind in this world, you could say that for that particular area there's some sort of genocide that occurred, and so then that would be your truth, right? Then absolutely it's already occurring type of thing. But on a massive scale, is there a depopulation agenda that is pushed by families that are behind the scenes, these secret families, whether it's the Rothschilds, the Soroses, the Dragons, the other unnamed families that are ruling the world, allegedly? And I would say to a certain degree, yes. And the reason I come to this conclusion is because I mentioned, so a lot of what I'm going to say is touched on in previous videos, especially general videos, so just bear with me if you've watched those already. But what I saw from the beginning of time with the creation of different cosmoses is Satan was dictated this cosmos, and he chose with his free will to exhibit things that are away from God. So that's human nature. Human nature by definition, by my definition, is sinful. It's primal, it's instinctual, it's animalistic. It has no soul or spirit connected to it. And so it's always a battle for the human being that comes into this world to combat the human nature versus the spiritual nature. You know, if we were to go through our primal reactions with certain things like fear, then we could be defensive, we could be angry, we can attack, we can hide, we can turn into a solitary person, right? Spirit, if you fall through faith and your greater purpose, in certain circumstances when fear exhibits itself, you would be confident, you would be assured, you would have a sense of community, you would have a sense of awareness and standing up for your beliefs and your moral integrity, right? So it's about now, I think everyone's journey in life is about sharpening those beliefs and moralities and how that stands in line with what you believe, and how you can make sure that you don't fall victim to any sort of manipulation tactics that could be occurring, whether it's some sort of compelling information that comes through to just make you a reactionary rather than a spiritually in tune person, right? Or trying to trigger that human instinct within you beyond reason, right? Because obviously we have to have some sort of balance of it in survival. But when I talk about extreme measures, a huge sort of catastrophic event, I think for a lot of people that needs to come into play, where you have to really tune in to what you truly believe so that you don't become a soldier for a demonic battle. Well, I was gonna say that's not necessarily like a demonic captain, or what are they called? I can't even think of the word, but the person that commands the battle. You have to figure that out within you. And so these families that exist here on earth are families who are descendants of demon worshippers, and I think to some degree they would consider themselves of those demons. So this is the playground. Earth, this cosmos, is the playground for all of these entities to come through, because we need the human body for the soul to come into and roam the world, right? And so at the beginning, when Satan had his cosmos, he went out and he recruited other angels who were responsible for their own cosmos, and those angels subsequently became fallen angels. So just as God has archangels, there are demons that work kind of underneath Satan in the name of him, right? So that's essentially what they are, kind of like archangels or archdemons, whatever you want to call them. And so these families behind the scenes have continuously followed through with basically the demon's desires, which is, you know, I'm just thinking, is creating idols for them to act as kind of like Ephesus. So like, let's say that there's a celebrity that has been controlled. Okay, let me back up and say the way that I see it is, let's say that there's a family, right? A demon worshiping family, and they lower down into society control the media, or they control the music industry, okay? And so in the music industry, then they recruit someone, and this is a singer, and then this singer in turn, through concerts, through their music and everything, have this demonic influence, right? Because they ultimately have say. So they're telling through the grapevine whether these people are aware of it or not. Like, let's say the costume designer is not aware of it, or they have their own personal agenda as to why they're doing it or why they're going along with it. Then they're decorating the artist in certain clothes and jewelry that honor this specific demon, or the set designer is the same situation, or the music vibrations in the music, certain things, right? The tones in the music, all of that. And so then the general population is worshiping this person and this singer, and this singer is a representation of their sacrifice and their honor to the demon. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a branch of manipulation all the way down, and they kind of customize it the way that they desire. And beyond that, they're using people who have their own personal wants and needs that are human nature or demonic in nature to do their bidding for them. And it kind of just takes care of its own, right? People who want notoriety, people who want money, people who are just genuinely psychopathic people and they want to have control and assert dominance over people. Like, all different reasons. Ultimately, it all comes back into darkness, right? That for anyone who is not even religious but just has some sort of moral standing, that is not the right way to be. It's not a good way to be. That's not a nice way to be. But that's how a lot of people operate. And so we have that in these different branches of families. And a lot of these mass major events are sacrifices to these demons. And it creates a frequency within society that also feeds in a lot of way the demon. And the way it feeds it is because in order for this demon to come into this reality, the frequency of the earth needs to lower. And that can be done within these prayer circles. That could be, I'm not sure if a prayer circle is the right word, but worship circles or whatever you want to call it. And it can be done by these mass events where people are just genuinely very sad, angry, frustrated, all of these lower energies. And essentially the main goal is to lower the frequency of this entire cosmos enough where it's easier for them to pass through, these darker entities to pass through. So what I feel is happening currently behind the scenes with these families is frustration, a lot of competition amongst each other for the main spot towards like Satan's affection, and also to supersede Satan, because no person who exhibits these demonic qualities is ever fully happy and satisfied and looking for the good of other people, right? It's always about competition with these people. And so there's a lot of tension behind the scenes that's happening. And while I do believe that there's a depopulation agenda occurring for varying different reasons, there's also issues that are occurring between the major families that are constructing this type of these types of events that I see. And so what does that mean for everyone? What does that mean for us? You know, I don't really think that it means much other than that things are going to get ramped up even more, because I don't know if I mentioned this, I don't think I did, but what I saw before is that it's dwindling. The amount of evil and families is dwindling. And so essentially they kind of self-destructed in the sense that the family like deconstructed and went towards the light. Like they've changed their ways and they no longer exist in the same capacity that they did. And so that particular cosmos, although it exhibits free will, is on the angelic side of things. And so the places in which these evil demons can go and exist is smaller and smaller. It feels like there's a few. I talked about another video of where I see them, because I talk about star tracking. So they go to these other cosmos and exist there and come back and around. We do too. But they specifically go to these places to kind of gather different information and take information everywhere and their experiences. And there's one that's like further than these. They're like closely correlated, close to this cosmos, and then there's one that's like further away. So there's more gap in between. It takes a longer time for the entity to travel that way. And also, the real truth behind it is there's also always going to be a battle within every living person and demon, true demon that exists, because some of the lower levels don't exist, but the true demons and Satan of battling against their spiritual truth, battling against their light, their inner light, because they're fully aware that they are product of God. They're fully aware that they have that light within them that wants to be good, that wants to be holy, that wants to go back to that. There's a fear and frustration, and I briefly mentioned this, but what I saw as the origins of Satan was a misunderstanding. Satan didn't want to have this event. Satan didn't want to change. Satan didn't want separation. Satan wanted to stay with God forever, and God, it's kind of like this, essentially like when you let your kids out into the world, it's like you have to leave the house now. You have to grow up and go do your own thing. And so it was this sense of betrayal. It was a misunderstanding. But God knew that this whole process that we're going through would happen, and it's in order to develop and develop the souls so that we understand in a deeper level than we've ever been able to understand. We were too innocent back, not too innocent, but we were innocent then. We were naive. We were ignorant. And so this is the major lesson here. So anyway, when you think about the depopulation agenda, it's like, okay, well, do they want to just get rid of everyone on Earth? No, because it would be boring. It would be absolutely boring. Who would they have to use as slaves? Who would they have as people who they could kind of use as experiments, right? Who would they have to obsess over them and to recruit? And the more people that exist, the more that demons can willingly, or they're not willing, the people have to willingly accept demons into their awareness. You have to give up, and even then, like I said, it's always a competition against the true soul of re-inhabiting the body, but they need people to possess over. And so what they want is a compliant society. They want a weak society, weak-minded and spiritually weak society, where people are unaware of what their truth is and what the truth is and what needs to be done in order to preserve those truths and to do what's right versus what sorry, I just looked up and I saw the word wisdom, like in one of my books, the word wisdom showing up, and so I was just thinking that that's it's like the essentially wising up spiritually. But anyway, that's essentially what I wanted to say today. Sorry if it was all over the place. Hopefully that made sense to you guys. But anyway, that's it. Bye, guys.